Hi guys, thanks for joining me. I am finally taking my hair out of this bun that it has been in all of quarantine. I have makeup on and fresh hair. Starting off with some BB cream. I love this product because it does pretty much everything. It's got memory, it's a heat protectant, it adds shine, and it's a great all-around product for everyday use. Working it through all over. Next, I'm adding AG's Weightless Volumizing Foam. This is going to be a little bit at my roots, but mostly through my mids and ends. 3 pumps. So work that through with your fingers. Now, I always brush product through unless it is something that I want in a very specific area, like a root lifter. I brush product through so that there's even distribution of the product, because have you ever blow dried your hair and it's like one spot won't get dry because it's like there's too much product right there? So using whatever brush I'm focusing on, I love a wet brush. I'm using my Paul Mitchell Marula brush now. I'm going to work that product throughout my hair so that way it dries even faster. I'm going to start with my Neuro Dry on a high speed, high heat setting. I'm gonna get my bangs done first, just that way, if you've got bangs, you've got to get them where they're supposed to be before they decide something else. In the salon or at home, I always start with a rough dry before I add my brush. I'm using the Paul Mitchell Pro Extra Large round brush. I'm gonna put a little bit of a bend in these bangs and make them behave themselves today. So once you get your bangs pretty much where you want them to be, we're gonna start with the rest of the head. So I always start with a rough dry, whether I'm using my fingers or a paddle brush or a wet brush. Hair doesn't have a memory until it's about 80% dry. So there's really not much sense in overworking when you can get your hair 80% dry and then add a brush, whether it's a round brush, a paddle brush, a boar bristle brush, whatever that might look like. Today we're using my Paul Mitchell Extra Large Round. I like this brush, and it's basically the only round brush collection I keep at the salon. I like it because it's an aluminum barrel. It heats up like a curling iron, so that way you're gonna help smooth any flyaways, frizz, and tame the hair as you're blow drying. So that's pretty much my go-to. My other is that wet brush, or the Marula brush that I'm using right now. My hair is it's fine and it tangles. So a wet brush has become my best friend because it finally doesn't hurt to brush my hair. So I typically wash my hair twice a week and blow dry it once a week, unless I'm blow drying it to go out on the weekends. So I try to do this as quick as I can because I'm not trying to spend a ton of time on my hair. So we're going to divide the hair halfway in half. So wherever your part is, you're going to divide that, and then you're going to take a subsection. Start with whatever side you'd prefer. We're going to start with the bottom and have the subsection horizontally. I am using a low elevation for my round brush. I'm not looking for a huge volumizing blowout today. So I use a nozzle in the salon, at home. Follow it with your round brush, kind of like a truck and a trailer. Essentially, you're going to have one attached to the other. Now you don't need to press hard on the round brush with the blow dryer, but work them together. It's gonna help your hair smooth faster, dry evenly. I focus on my roots and my mids more so than my ends. My ends, and generally everybody's ends, are gonna dry faster. So we're gonna move to our second subsection on this side, continuing with a lower elevation round brush blowout. And still keeping that nozzle and that round brush working together. I know a lot of people throw that nozzle away, but it's gonna make your life so much easier when you're blow drying your hair. It's a concentrator, it's gonna keep the air where you need it, so that way you're working harder. You're working smarter, not harder, because we're not trying to work harder around here. So again, focus on the mids and the roots and the ends last, and then make sure you're feeling your hair to check for any dampness before you move on to your next section. So we're gonna move on to that third subsection, the last subsection. And here I'm gonna lift a little bit more. So the more you lift, the more volume you're gonna get. Like I said, I've been doing a lower elevation throughout this round brush blowout. If you wanted to have a lot of volume, the higher you go up, like if you imagine a clock, the higher you move towards that 12 o'clock, you're gonna get more volume. The lower you are, like the 6 o'clock, anywhere from like 4 to 6, you're gonna get the least amount of volume. And then in between is that mid volume. So I'm working on making sure that my roots and my mid shaft are dry. And the thing too to remember about blow drying your hair is that it's not a race. You know, slower, more controlled movements, roll your brush up and just kind of rock it. It doesn't have to be this speed where you're pulling the brush through your hair really fast and moving as fast as you can. Take your time. The less work you have to do with pulling it fast, the better. So now I'm just checking to make sure that I'm 100% dry on the first half. And I'm gonna move to my other side. So for this side, honestly, I have way less hair on this side of my head than I do on the other. And so I could honestly probably get away with doing 2 subsections, but we're gonna keep it even. So I use this alligator clip. It's a Paul Mitchell Pro clip. I love it because it can hold all of my hair. I use them at the salon. They're my favorite clips. But make sure that the legs are up. It's gonna help keep the hair up in the clip better. If you have the legs facing down, hair is gonna tend to fall out a little bit easier. So continuing on the lower elevation, and as you can see on this side, it's gonna be a lot faster because there's a lot less hair to work with over here. Moving on to our second horizontal subsection. I would like to do these horizontal or diagonal back towards the center or the nape of your neck. It makes it really easy to just get a controlled blowout, and I'm looking for smoothness because I don't want to have to touch up my hair with a smoothing iron or a curling iron after this. I want to just have a blowout and go. Cross-check to make sure you're dry. Makes a huge difference later on, I promise you. So that final section, now a lot of times with my crown or that top section, I usually do give a little bit more lift, a little bit of a higher elevation to just get a little bit more volume. And blowouts on yourself are hard. I'm a hairdresser and it's hard for me to do it on myself as well as I do it on my clients. It'd be easy if we could take our head off and set it on a stand and do it, but we can't. So take your time getting a routine down and just teaching your body those motions. You'll get better and better every time. And if your hair is being crazy, like mine is right here, take a minute and pause and readjust, because it doesn't have to be perfect. So I will a lot of times hit my hair with a cool shot button just to cross check again and make sure everything's dry. You can feel the dampness when the cool air hits it. So I do that just to make sure that I don't have any spots, because if you have damp hair, you're going to end up with a little bit of frizz and a little bit of misbehavior that you might not want. So this is going to give you a really great blowout, so that way you have your hair ready to go in less than 15 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you can create this look at home.